Salvete omnes. Hello everybody. Wednesday discussion, when in Rome. I just want to do a very quick overview of some things to keep in mind and the importance of this discussion, which we will the main thing is comparison. Despite much debate and argument, one thing is reasonably clear throughout our class in world history, that nothing should stand alone. Nothing in history really does stand alone. Every event, every historical figure, every culture, every society, every civilization gains significance from its inclusion in some larger context. And that larger context really is comparisons and having a comparison element to what we're looking at. So whatever else, world history is a comparative discipline seeking to identify similarities and differences in the experience of the world's people. And so looking at the Roman Empire, we could spend a whole class just looking at Rome, but we don't have that time. And so what we're going to do is look at it through comparing it with the world around it and the world before it. So looking at the different empires that we have studied, looking at Persia, looking at even ancient Greece, arguably Greece really wasn't an empire, but Macedonia, Alexander's empire, and his dad before him, Philip, they created an empire. What about India? What about China? What about specifically in China with the Han dynasty, or maybe the Qin dynasty, or aspects of Mesopotamia? How can you compare what you've learned in Rome this week by comparing it and contrasting it against empires of the past, is what we're looking at here. So terms discussed in the reading that you have seen, use those to illustrate your examples on how life, maybe politics, religion, buildings, military power, other parts of power were used to control and even to expand the borders and control their peoples. So you might want to look at Han's Empire and the Roman Empire, how their interesting similarities are. Look at how trade works. You may wish to explore ideas of what allows these empires to survive and what causes them to fall. So maybe even environmental factors, I don't know. However you want to look at this, but use evidence from the reading. Think about evidence from past chapters that were looking at, that maybe rings a bell. And I'm excited to read this one for sure. So that's an important one. And you're going to pick two empires to compare and contrast against Rome. Okay. Second part of that is, after reading specifically on page 196 in our reading in our textbook, the movement of ideas, and how does the description, this is looking at Christianity in the later Roman Empire, at Christianity differ between a believer, Paul, and a non-believer, Pliny. So they are talking about Christianity. And so look at that and look at the descriptions and what's some of the obvious differences that come out of those two descriptions that you're reading, the primary sources. Okay, so again, 15 points, same thing as always, 10 points for really answering it, and putting a lot of effort into both. This is going to be a good one. This will be really interesting to see how you're comparing this Roman Empire, which is often stands alone by itself, often thought about in Western culture as just along the lines as Greek, kind of this longue durée is what they call it, sort of this continuation from Greece to Rome and Rome to Europe. But as you get closer to it, you see that's not really the case. And you see that things in Rome aren't exactly completely unique. There's aspects of it that we've seen elsewhere. And what they've picked up from the Etruscans, what they picked up from ancient Greece, all that stuff is interesting to look at. Things don't happen in a vacuum, and we can all see that there are comparisons to be made.